Good evening, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday night, and you're watching Kathryn Scraps Live, and this is very much, hopefully, embellishing the last 8 Pouch-a-lopes so that next week we can make a box for them to go in, and then we'll be done with Christmas in July. And we can go back to school. So we'll finish Christmas in July and we'll go back to school. I hope you're all doing well this Thursday evening. Good evening to everyone who is here so that I can hopefully get all these envelopes decorated. I'm just going to jump right in with the next envelope. Let's go. Just make a mess. Let's just make a mess. We don't need a clean desk. Be perfect. There we go. That looks great. So I'm just going to take a pencil and mark where I need to cut. Oh yeah, it's very hot here. This has been a hot summer. Oh, it's been a hot summer. And I just got an email this week from our congressperson that they've upgraded the hurricane season rating to, oh my God, we're all going to die. From, I think this is going to be really bad. Or, no, from I have a bad feeling about this. So, I was like, I guess I should buy some sandbags. And then I just forgot about it and didn't, so. I'm not being very prepared. But yeah, it's hot. It's hot. It's hotter. One thing that surprised me about Tampa is that it's hotter in Tampa than it is in Miami. And that is because Miami is a tropical climate and Tampa is a subtropical climate, and for whatever reason, even though I'm farther north, it's hotter. So what can you do? What can you do? Now, there's a saying in Florida, and I'm sure there's a saying a lot of places, that if you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes. But there's the thing is, that's about rain. It's not about heat. Waiting 10 minutes is going to get you nowhere. It's going to get you nowhere. Well, I only wanted sandbags to put behind the drain, in between the house and the drain for the pool, in case it overflowed again, like it did during that last tropical storm. Not the last tropical storm, because the last tropical storm did nothing. It totally just passed us by. But the tropical storm, the last one that actually hit us and caused problems. There we go. Family Tradition looks great here because it pulls up the KRAFT from the bottom. So now we'll just go inside and find something. I'm going to round these corners. And then put like a strip behind it of some kind. I think I'll put this naughty or nice strip behind it. Again, I'm inking with Gathered Twigs for my brown and Festive Berries for my red. Yes, Patty, this year just has felt bleh. More bleh than normal Florida summer. And Orlando's worse than Tampa. So if it's bad here, it's just probably worse there. So you have my sympathy. It was 118 in Arizona. Yeah, I mean, in places in the desert, it gets hotter. But what I tell people is that the thing about the heat in Florida is that whatever temperature it is at noon, that's the temperature it's going to be at midnight. So because the humidity is so high here, the temperature is maintained 24/7. So there's no like, oh, the sun's going down, we can go outside now. It's just the same. The only difference is the sun is on you or it's not on you. But like you're either, it doesn't cool down to not have the sun like it does in places with lower humidity. So it's like it's a different kind of fun. It's a special fun. And I've been to some hot places. I went to Israel in July. That's hot. That's really hot. But it would get cold at night. Like because it was so dry that that there was no heat retention at all because there was no moisture in the ground. So as soon as the sun went down, it was like 50 degrees and we'd be freezing. So it was a very interesting experience. Like the temperature would drop like 50 degrees and we would just be like, oh, what's happening? So Alice says, when the sun goes down in my house, it gets chilly. Yeah, that happens in areas where there's not a lot of moisture in the ground. So deserts, but I guess if it's rocky, and the Pacific is cold, very much so, yeah. The pandemic's made it easier to justify staying inside all day. True, true. I go outside to the pool and that's it. That's my main place that I travel to. Okay. And there we go. We got one done. Yay. I think I might reuse the bow, the silver bow. Yeah, because it's gray down here, kind of gray. The pool is a good place to go. It's the place to go. I mean, it's hot. It's hot there too, but not quite as hot. But let's see, August. I mean, September's still hot here, but October, you know, it can still be hot in October, but it's not guaranteed. You know, like there can be some surprises sometimes. Sometimes there's surprises. Do the cat? Oh, the cats basically live out there. That's their favorite place. They come inside every once in a while to cool off. And like Kitty will walk in from the porch and then just flop in the middle of the living room on the tile, like 5 steps from the door from the porch, and just lay there. And I'm like, did your fur get too hot? Is that what happened? And then when Tiny Cat gets too hot, she just goes under a chair and cries. Because Tiny Cat is not, you know, she's not getting a 1600 on her SATs. But she spends so much time outside, she's changing color. It's really cute. She's turning reddish brown in patches. Yeah, October is when you can start hoping for good days. Poor Tiny Cat. So she's, you know. Is our pool water cool and refreshing or like bath water? It depends on what you're used to. If you're a Florida person, you might find it cool and refreshing. But if you're from a part of the country that's like where people's blood is not as thin, then you might be like, wow, this is warm. It's not as warm as like the ocean, but it can be warm. It's not always chilly to step into it. So upstate New York, you would probably find it warm. All right, I kind of want to use this, but it needs red on either side, I think, maybe. So just gonna look through. But like, Maybe this is better. I feel like I just used it not that long ago, though. I like that. I like the trees better than the... They do feel cooler after the rain. That's true. That's true. The rain will cool them off. Very true. I don't really have just a red strip. So I'm just going to go with the silver, and maybe I'll Sharpie it. Let me look at my Sharpies. If I can remember where I put them. So I'm just going to test my red Sharpie on the paper. And if I don't like how it looks, I can just cover it with this. And I don't like how it looks because it's different on the white and the green. So I am just going to have to cut a piece of the red cardstock, I think. They have pool heaters for the northern climates, so they have coolers for the south. Sounds expensive. That sounds expensive. But the thing is, it's so hot, you really don't care. Like, the water is not warm. Like, you're not in the water sweating. Because the water's still, even if the water's 80 degrees, it's still cooler than your body and it's still cooler than the air. So it still feels cool. I'm just saying, like, if you're like from a place where you jump in the water and you're like, you don't get that brisk feeling down here as much. That's all. But that's a great feeling. Well, I mean, I think we already knew you weren't suited for Florida weather, Gretchen. Aren't you an un-fan of the heat? An anti-fan? Very true, yeah. But yeah, that feeling, you don't get that feeling. I mean, sometimes you do, but it's not all the time. Like, every once in a while, the pool will be cold. Usually because it's been cloudy or it's rained or something like that. Usually those two things go hand in hand. Renee misses living in Florida. Maybe someday you'll go back. Hey. It's, depending on where you live, it's cheaper than a lot of places. Even, like, you know, Miami, for example, is a lot cheaper than, say, the Washington, D.C. area. I'm a polar bear too, says Lori. So I I thought I liked seasons and winter and snow and stuff, and then after living in Miami for a year, I was like, oh no, I hate all that stuff. I never want to go back. You probably lose all the savings on AC. Yeah, I mean, you have to get used to a certain level of discomfort in regards to the heat of your house. Like, if you keep your thermostat on 72, or something like that in the summer, that's not going to be a good call down here. But you get used to it. I know people don't believe me when I say this, but it's true. I promise you. You get used to it. Ours is on 70 in the summer and 68 in the winter. That's true. I mean, I think a lot of people would probably be better off somewhere else, but you don't maybe know that until you have been forced to live somewhere else. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I never realized I was meant for a tropical climate. I wouldn't have guessed that for me. But there's stuff you also get used to, like, you just don't wear jeans everywhere. You wear other things. That kind of stuff. You adapt. I mean, I do wear jeans, but I wear jeans with lots of holes that are kind of short. So I have a breeze. Yeah, ceiling fans in every room. And then you wear a lot of tiny shorts and camisoles and stuff when you're in the house. You just don't wear a lot of clothes. And in the winter, you do have to wear a lot of sweaters because Florida heating is not very efficient or great. Because it's not like they, invest a lot into that in a house. Okay, so I'm going to make a little get a little scrap here. Trying to find a scrap in the recycling bin. Here we go. And I'm going to trace this, and I'm going to make some adaptations. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tie a little bow on this, and I think I'm going to staple the bow to it and then hope that that is cute. Let's just hope that's cute. Let's hope for the best, friends. Okay. Why does this one always get twisted? It's so annoying. Ugh, why are bows so dumb? Huh? Why? Yeah, they're always twisting up. Ugh, I hate bows. It's always the left side that does it. Why is it so feisty? There. Oh, my goodness. Okay. There. Just a little bit of fun. A little bow stapled on there. Okay. Now we're going to peel the back and stick it down. And then we'll just trim the ends a little bit. Not too much, but just so that they won't get into the crack. Nice. Done. Another envelope is finished. Finito. Fin. All right, cute. Okay. Oh, I should get the next envelope. Okay, so we're officially halfway done. We've done half the envelopes. I have a fun idea. I have to measure though to make sure I can do it. 3 3/4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 3/4 is 30. I might not be able to do it. Let's do every other one. And then we'll see. Okay? Because at 30, and I have 2 of these, we can do every other one at 30. Because we have 24 inches and every other one would be 15. So every other one will be just fine. I'm going to start in the center and work my way out. So I definitely, you know where I've got one at least that I want to showcase. And so this is what you do. Press it into place, but don't press the edge. Hold this taut and then cut through it gently. Don't try to go all the way through on your first pass. And then you'll know when it disconnects because you're holding it taut, so it'll just pull right away. Then give it a little burnish. But don't burnish this part down here, same thing. All right, so now that we've got that one, we can just keep going. And now we don't have to do the bottom anymore because it'll hold its shape. Okay. All right. Tiny Cat's downstairs crying for crunchies. She's got 25 more minutes until it's crunchy time. Oh, someone just picked her up because she made a yowl. She hates being picked up. These are All right, and now I just have to do this corner up here. Yeah, she's just like, look. I expect to be fed on the dot. She's getting fed early. I just heard Crunchies go into a bowl. The other people in this house are so weak. They're so weak to cat cries. The cats play them like fiddles. All right, look what we did. We Franken-papered hello, how are you? Good evening. Good evening to everyone. We just did some Franken-paper. No. Oof. I think we'll use this one. Sleigh bells ring. And remember that just because I'm doing this Christmas doesn't mean you have to do this Christmas. Pouch-a-lopes are holiday neutral. That gold one, if we don't end up using it, we're just going to be like, look, you're ugly. I don't know what to say. Sorry. If you wanted to be in the album, you should have been cuter. This is really a bad message, but look. Not all scrapbook papers can make it into an album. That's just how it is. We have to know our limitations. Okay, I'm going to use the gathered twigs. Or maybe you'll be beautiful in a project other than this one. Oh, that's true. There's always the back. It's the green swirl. That's true. We could always use the back. Now that we've insulted the gold one, it's going to find a spot where it'll be the cutest. If it does, I'll eat my words. I'll eat my words. And I'll say, look how beautiful you are there. That's where you were always meant to be. And it'll be like, stop patronizing me. And that's when people are like, I had no idea that scrapbooking was such an aggressive hobby. It's like, earlier today, Mr. Lifeguard and I were up here installing a part in the broadcast PC, which incidentally, for real, if you want to, you know the saying, fortune favors the bold. In my life, there are few things bolder than installing a new part in the broadcast PC on broadcast day in between shows. And Mr. Lifeguard was like, look, it's a simple part. What could go wrong? And I was like, well, I said it could like fail to boot and, you know, brick the computer and then I wouldn't be able to broadcast. And he was like, well, now that you've put that in the universe. And I was like, well, I mean, you asked. So, but anyways, it went perfectly because, as I said, fortune favors the brave. However, or is it the bold? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Who cares about fortune anyway? But what is the funny part of this story, other than my like really poor decision making, is that he couldn't open the box for the part. And so he looked at me and he said, do you have anything sharp up here? And then I just looked at him like, what the? I mean, What kind of a question is that? I was like, really? Come on, man. Oh, look how cute this paper is. A very successful Franken papering. I allowed him to use the Martha Stewart craft knife, which he was afraid he would hurt himself with. So, okay. Let's try the gold one. Let's try the other gold one. I mean, this one's less barfy, but it's still not cute. It was a trick question. Categorizing the strips by barfy, slightly less barfy. I have a backup Martha knife, just in case. So I'm always, well, I'm not always good, because if I broke my current Martha knife and then I broke this one, I would be in trouble. But I've kept my current Martha. I'm British now. I kept my current Martha knife since it came out, so I think I'll be okay. All right, so I like the way this looks, but I don't want to not have this strip, so I'm going to go after a green strip. From the Scrippy Scraps. This one is not as cute. I think it's the white. So Jersey Girl said her husband just came in and asked if she had any glue. Ooh, look at this. Look what I just did. Now it's stitched. Oh my gosh. Can you even? Look how cute. How perfect. And they're already stitched in between, so now it looks like they're stitched in squares all the way around. I mean, this is why you save your scraps. That's what I'm saying. Well, Mr. Lifeguard has his own scissors. So I bought him like a 12 pack of like Westcott scissors that were $1 each or something like that. And he's just working his way through them, you know. And eventually he'll lose all of them, and then I'll just buy him another pack. But he's not allowed to use upstairs scissors, you know. And he will ask, you know, if he wants to glue something, he'll say what he wants to glue and then ask me which glue would be best. So, you know, we have that situation sometimes. But he knows that glue is available. But that's funny. But yeah, he won't use my scissors. So all right. Get this right in the middle. There's not a ton of room, but there's just enough. Ugh. I mean, can you even stand it? So I'm putting the red edge on the 1/8 inch line on the trimmer and cutting so that I have 1/8 strip of green at the top and the bottom. Did I have to train him about scissors? Yeah, I had to explain about scissors to him because I have a pair of fabric shears, these, which I've had since college. But these are pretty recognizable. Like, they're twice as heavy as any other pair of scissors I have, and they have the cheetah handle. So he knows that he just cannot, even in an emergency, use the cheetah scissors. And that's fine, you know. Oh, look at this cuteness. Okay. Those are the ones that I took from the theater, yes. Yes, they're my my payment for my time as costume mistress of a play with a very complicated costuming. So I did it was 12th night, and oh my goodness, that was a rough one. And it's so funny because at the same school a few years later, I did the costuming for A Man for All Seasons, which is like a very similar era. But that one had a bigger budget, so we just went and rented costumes from a company. So I was in my college's production of 12th Night, and I was the assistant director, and I was a costume mistress. And one of the things that I bought with the costume, I had my own sewing machine at school already, but I just had left these scissors at home or something, so I bought them because I didn't have my fabric scissors with me. And then I just never gave them back to them. I just never gave them back. But yeah, I was Olivia, and I was the assistant director, and I was the costume mistress. And the director also did the music, and he was also the fool. Everyone was doing the most. And then I had to do one scene dripping wet because because some idiot in the lighting department missed a cue or something. I don't remember what happened, but like they did the wrong scene. I look out on the stage and they're doing a scene that comes later in the play, and we have skipped a scene, and it's not like we skipped a scene that no plot happened. Like there's so I had to run around, find all the actors in the scene that got skipped, tell them we were going to do the scene very next scene, and we were going to do a lighting change on the fly. And then I had to run. This theater was so old, there was no way to get from backstage to the top of the theater where the lighting was without going outside and climbing an exterior staircase because it was a historic theater. So I had to run outside, but it was wet, and I slipped on the boardwalk in the rain and fell into like a huge puddle, and then ran up the stairs, explained the lighting change to them, made it back in time to tell all the actors that it's good, we've solved it. And then I was just wet for the rest of the play. So, oh well. That play was such an interesting experience because also super I mean, Shakespeare can be raunchy, as you know, and like how raunchy any one thing is kind of can depend on the acting, you know. So there's a scene where Olivia meets the twin brother in 12th Night in the middle of a duel, and she like stops the duel or something, I don't remember. And he's supposed to be like so overwhelmed by her beauty or whatever that he like is just, stunned. And the way that the person I was opposite did that was they just didn't immediately put their sword away. They just had it kind of half sheathed. And one night I just was inspired to grab it and push it all the way back in while we were talking, which looked, the way that it looked. And unfortunately, everyone loved it. Huge laughter and applause, except I then made eye contact in the audience with the president of the college, which was awkward for both of us. So that was bad. But, it is what it is. So what can you do? What can you do? But yeah, 12th Night. But A Man for All Seasons was the costumes were much harder for A Man for All Seasons in the sense that there were so many costume changes because people age a lot in that play. Like Henry VIII starts out young and skinny, and he gets old and fat by the end, and that kind of thing. So that was a lot to keep track of. But the costumes themselves, I didn't have to make as many. But I was also having a really bad cough, and it was a really intimate, like theater in the round, all in one room kind of play. So you could hear me coughing in the audience if I was coughing. So I had to drink so much cough syrup. I had to drink cough syrup anytime my throat was tickly. And I was basically totally high by the end of it. Like, so, yeah. College. When people make nothing but good choices because they're responsible adults. Hey, I wasn't doing it to have fun, man. I was just trying to be quiet. But I did learn that you can drink too much cough syrup. I guess there's alcohol. Is there alcohol in cough syrup? Is that what the issue was or what? Okay. some have it. Maybe that's what the problem was. But I got everyone in their outfits on time, so that's all that matters. Oh yeah, some do have drugs in them, narcotics. Yeah, so that was a fun time for everyone, but, you know. What other play did I do? Oh, Harvey. Ugh. That play sucked. And the play my freshman year was Much Ado About Nothing, which I don't even remember if I auditioned for, because... Well, to be fair, I didn't audition for 12th Night either, but the person playing Olivia quit, so I just took over the role. Yeah. Plays usually hold themselves together, you know. Now, I've seen some plays that it's like, well, okay. Like, I saw Les Mis at a Tony Award-winning theater, so it's not like it was like a crap place, but like it's won local Tonys, because the Tonys do Tony Awards for like regional theaters as well, not just Broadway. And so it was at this Tony Award-winning theater, and I found out later that the actor who was supposed to do the role had, like, 2 days before we saw it, had to be replaced by his understudy for some like huge emergency, and his understudy just sucked. But like, I'm not even kidding when I say this guy sucked. Like, he bit his knuckle when he was upset at one point. Like, he was like a 1940s black and white heroine. I mean, it was just, and he was just bad. Like, his delivery was bad, his singing was bad, his acting, his movement was bad, everything was just bad, and he was the star. And so my mom read me a review of it in the Washington Post, because I guess the reviewer had been at the same one we'd been at, and he was just like raking the production over the coals. And I was laughing hysterically because it was just so bad. Like, it was shockingly terrible. But apparently 2 weeks later, they pulled themselves together and it was great. So we just went at the wrong time. My nephew is heading to Flagler majoring in theater. I'll give him a heads up about the cough syrup. Yeah, just like, take it easy, but don't finish the whole bottle, you know? I want to make like a little cluster. I want to put little bows on these, I think, so I'm going to cut these bows out. How funny. But, I mean, one of the people I went to college with, who I was in a play with and directed in another play. So I was in 12th Night with him, and then I directed him in another play. He's a professional actor. I mean, he did it. And it was so funny because in college we used to always ask him what he wanted to be, and he'd always say an actor, and we'd always say, well, what's your backup plan? And his response would be, I don't have one, because I feel like if you have one, it's too easy to fall back on it. And regardless, he did it, so, you know? Melanie says, the last 3 plays I've been to because my oldest was in the orchestra. Well, that's nice. The last play I saw was, oh, Kinky Boots. I saw Kinky Boots at the arena. The arena? Is that where I saw it? No. What? I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, you have to believe in yourself because, you know, that helps other people believe in you. And he's probably right that not having a backup plan or backup training makes it harder to quit, you know. So. But yeah, he did a play in DC, and I went to see him while he was in town. Neil Gaiman's Alice in Wonderland thing. I forget what it's called. Neverwhere, Nevernight, Nevermore, something like that. Oh, which is a friend of mine from college. All right, I'm just going to cut this so that it starts and ends on the tan. Instead of the green. And that'll just help it, you know, stand out more. So I'm going to have to cut it on both sides instead of just one. You have a friend from high school who was in a cutscene from Jaws. My dad, I have a funny story about my dad. When, you know how, like, people get discovered, you know, there are stories of this famous person was discovered sitting in a diner in California or whatever. So my dad was stopped on the street by some casting agents. This was during the Iran-Contra thing. And he was stopped on the street by some casting agents who wanted to know if he would play Ollie North in a TV movie they were doing. And my dad was like, I'm not really that good of an actor. And they're like, it's not really a big deal. Like, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to be that good. And he's like, no, I'm not involved in Hollywood at all. I'm not involved in acting at all. And I don't want to be. And they really tried to get him to be Oliver North. Come in and audition for this. He does look a decent amount like Oliver North. how did my parents end up in California? Well, my dad's family moved there. I think when he was really little, so, you know, he doesn't really know. But I think he was born in like New Jersey or Pennsylvania, or someplace like that. And then my mom, after she graduated college, packed up all her stuff and moved with a friend. They just packed up all their stuff into their car and moved to California. So that's how she got out there. Her parents were just like, ugh. But she was from Kansas and she wanted to see the ocean and she wanted to have an adventure. So that's how she got out there. So my dad was more or less raised there, and my mom just didn't have anything going on after college, so she just moved there. That is a talented family. All right. Now, let's... Oh no, I just flung my little tag I just made. That's okay. That's okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so hot. It's like 1,000 degrees. Well, and she's not even from, like, she's from Fort Scott, Kansas. So she's not even from, like, one of the cooler parts of Kansas. But yeah, Fort Scott, Kansas is not known for much. There you go. Laura Ingalls Wilder stopped there at one point when she was, apologies to everyone who lives in Fort Scott, which is no one. So, just, they sell, what do they sell? Bricks and feed, I think, are the main industries. It's it's like kind of nearish Kansas City. Kind of. I mean, not especially, you know, but it's in that zone of Kansas. But yeah, she's from Fort Scott, Kansas. Oh, well, there's a fort there named after General Winfield Scott. That's why it's called Fort Scott. It does have National Cemetery number 1 in it. So all the national cemeteries are numbered. And so they all are numbered. And Arlington is number 2. And number 1 is in Fort Scott, Kansas. So they have that going for them. Yeah. 8,000 people live there. If someone from Fort Scott is watching, I'm sorry, okay? But you know it's true. There's not a lot going on there. Yeah, it's home of the Fort Scott National Historic Site and the Fort Scott National Cemetery. Yeah. It's got a fort there. It's got a national cemetery. I mean... Notable people. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Notable people include my mom, her brother. So, but yeah, it's just, you know, it's a small town. Anyway, they couldn't wait to get out. They couldn't wait to get out. So she and her brother. So they went to KU And then he actually ended up settling around Fort Scott and not going, once he settled down. So he lives in Olathe, Kansas, I think. Somewhere around abouts there. I'm from Jersey. You get used to... Look, I'm not dissing the whole state of Kansas. I'm dissing the town of Fort Scott. Just... I can give you all kinds of facts about Fort Scott. Like, I can tell you that Fort Scott has a cannon pointed at Missouri that's been there since the Civil War, just in case they needed it. Because they were on opposite sides of the Civil War, Kansas and Missouri. Why they never did anything with the cannon, you know, we'll never know. But I guess they didn't need it. So. What else? All the bricks in Fort Scott were turned over, were dug up and turned over and replaced as part of like a New Deal make work project because they were designated a National Historical Monument and they wanted them to be evenly worn on both sides. This is, I'm not making this up. So they had, one of the ways they gave people work was they had them dig up every single brick in the street and then turn them all over and replace them. Yeah, these are the types of things I know about Fort Scott. I mean, maybe it's, look. All right, I want to use something from this page, but nothing's really... Oh, I guess I could, maybe this would tie in with the... Let's just cut this out. For a non-cool place, it has some stories. Maybe someone just needs to turn it into like a kind of like a hipster kind of place. Like Asheville, North Carolina or something like that. Yes, that's true, Fran. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it would have been... The other gold strip is going to be jealous? Well, maybe it should have been cuter. Huh? Because, like, I bet if we stick it down, it's not... Yeah. Does that look cute? It doesn't. It's just not... It's not time for this gold strip to shine, is it? Look. Look how much better that is. Yeah. It's really unfortunate. Let's try the other gold strip. Ooh, not better. Not better. So we're going to just do the bow because it's actually cute. Anyway, I know all this stuff because we always had to take the historic trolley ride when we would go visit. So I've heard all these facts a bunch of times. And they have stuck in my brain. Fort Scott facts. Yeah. Guys better watch what happens to Florida in the next 6 months because that's your future. It's like I told you I had that quote. Florida is a study in abnormal psychology, useful in signaling the hidden derangements of the national mood. And that is from Fortune magazine in 1948. So in case you were wondering if we've always been this way, the answer is yes. And we're just an amped up version of the rest of you. So we are you, but on drugs, Francis. Yep. We're just the most extreme version of whatever is going on at any given time. It's our job to warn you, you know? Like, shape up or this is coming. Driving is a blood sport. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Dave Barry once described driving in Miami as, you know, driving where everyone maintains the traffic laws of the country of their country of origin. And it's so true. People in Miami just do what they feel like. There's like no sense of, just because a light is red doesn't mean people will stop. So like you have to, you know, or so like if you're stopped at a red light and the light turns green, you have to just kind of look around, right? And wait and make sure no one like comes and like goes through, because some people are gonna be driving through the intersection. It's just what's gonna happen. So, and it's so funny because my parents came to visit us when we were living in Miami, and my mom ran a red light. And my dad was making fun of her, and I said, yeah, but I bet nobody had to slam on their brakes because you were in the intersection. And she said, oh, no, they didn't. And I was like, yeah, that's because they expected you to run the red light. But I remember him saying, like, the average speed of the Florida Turnpike is 65 miles an hour because 49% of the people are driving 80 miles an hour, 49 in the right lane, 49% of the people are driving 50 miles an hour in the left lane, and the other 2% are reversing for no reason, which also perfectly describes the Florida Turnpike. Perfectly. Anybody else want to run the red light? Yeah, are we done? Has everyone run the red light who wants to run the red light? All right, so yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I mean, and once you've lived here long enough, you just start contributing to the madness and you don't even really think about it. When we were looking to leave Virginia, did we think we'd end up in Florida again? Well, no, because if we had been thinking only of ourselves, we would have moved to probably back to the Miami area. But my sister was living in Texas, so we moved to Texas. And you know how that all ended up. So after that all exploded, we just were like, all right, well, forget Texas. And so we just packed her up and we brought her out here. And we moved to Tampa instead of Miami because she speaks no Spanish whatsoever. And it's difficult in Miami to to have like a lot of job opportunities if you're not bilingual, because 2/3 of the people at least are bilingual. So, you know, it's kind of like a really basic skill there. And so we didn't want her to have that extra hurdle when trying to get a job. And so that's why we moved to Tampa, because it had the strongest economy in Florida at the time. And, you know, the language thing was not going to be as big of a deal or as important. Do you want to go here? I mean, that's the least gross you've looked. So oh, I mean, we would have, like I said, we would have moved to Florida if it hadn't been for the fact that we were only considering Texas because she was there and we weren't going to move to Florida if she was going to be married and settling down in San Antonio. So we didn't consider it. But actually, this one looks like not hideous. It needs a little oomph. So let's do the ribbon. But anyway, Texas kicked us out, so that's fine, Texas. You know what? But yeah, I mean, I think the signs were there in that, like, you know, Texas really did, like, do the most to get rid of me. I don't, you know. Texas weather didn't like me. There was a hurricane. There was what else? It was a heat wave when we got there. I mean, and, you know, yeah, there was a flood. That's right. Ugh. Yeah, it was fun times. It was fun times. Yeah, so Florida was just, or Texas was just like, just go. You know what? Just get out. And we were like, all right, fine. Gosh. Gosh. I'm going to put a little baby scallop on it. A little baby scallop. So I use this ribbon punch. Then I cut it down the middle. And it gives me 2 baby scallops. Little baby scallops. See? Yeah, I mean, look, when a state throws a heat wave and a hurricane at you, it's like, okay, you know what? I get it. Okay? I get it. And oh, by the way, the feeling is mutual. Just like, but yeah, it was fine. You know, we have no family or history in Texas. So once she got divorced, we were like, well, we don't need to be here anymore. And she wasn't interested in staying either. So. Yes, we arrived in Texas at the beginning of July, and we arrived in Florida at the beginning of November. So we moved from Northern Virginia to Texas at the end of June, beginning of July. And then we moved from Texas, San Antonio, Texas, to Tampa, Florida at the end of October and got here at the beginning of November. That was unpleasant in the extreme. So, and we had been there 2 months when he moved out, and like, you know, sometimes think that maybe he encouraged us to move down there just so he could get out of the marriage without guilt, you know? And I just think it would have been more humane to just, you know, like, so, because she would have people there to support her or whatever. But I would have rather had a phone call that he was going to do it and flown down there, you know, than to spend $20,000 moving across the country twice in 4 months. So, is he on my Christmas card list? No. So. Because I just think it's impossible that he thought everything was totally fine in beginning of July, and then 2 months later was like, oh, you know what? I just realized that there's a problem that I didn't know about before. Yeah, he's not even getting cards I found in the bargain bin at Michael's 2 years ago. So, yeah. Like, I'm happy that we were there for my sister, but I could have been there for my sister another way if he'd just been decent. I should send him a glitter bomb. Fran, that's so smart. Well, to be fair, we thought we would like living in San Antonio. You know, I mean, the city, the weather, everything was kind of the way we wanted. We had, you know, it has the type of stuff that we like in a city. San Antonio does. And so, you know, I think it would have been totally fine, ultimately, except it wasn't meant to be. So. Ugh. What the heck, Gretchen? What is the matter with people? Oh, look. Spread Christmas cheer is cute. Aww. Well, we found one of you a place. I'm going to sparkle you up. Yeah. So I put a little glitter pen on there so once it dries it'll be sparkly. Okay. Next one. Next one. Right. Ooh, this is cute. I like that black plaid. Why didn't we use more of it? Should we put a red ribbon on it? I think that's going to look good. Next one. The gold's last chance. All right, I guess we'll just test it. Wow. Yeah, it's hideous. What's that State Farm commercial? She sounds hideous. Or what? We tried. We tried. I'll tell you what, I think the problem is I think it's too yellow. I think it needs to be just like a little more muted of a gold. Like it's too yellow. You know, I think if it was more of like a antiqued gold, it would mesh better with the colors. I think it's just, you know, it's not its fault. It was born that way. I guess I should be nicer to it. I mean, looks aren't everything. How about putting the gold on the ribbon? Wow, you guys, you don't even really want the gold in the album. You're just pretending because you feel sorry for it now. I mean, it's slightly less hideous, but is it cute? Is it cuter than the ribbon was by itself? It's not too bad, but no thank you. 2 glasses of wine and everything does look brighter. It's so funny because Mr. Lifeguard texted me earlier today, and he was like, how about tomorrow we just get up? He has tomorrow off. And he was like, how about tomorrow we just get up, cook breakfast, and then we get drinks and we go in the pool. And I was like, let's just skip the formalities and just drink our breakfast. Because it's good to have plans. And so I told him he couldn't do that because he had to install this part in my computer, and that's how we ended up installing the part today. Because just in case he still wanted the drinking in breakfast and drinking in the pool to be on the table. He didn't want it off the table. Isn't that better? Look at all this cute stuff that I make on this channel. All right. But yeah. Try the gold with the bow. There's words on it, so they're gonna get and it's too long to cut the words off. I don't know that it looks that much better. So we're not going to worry about it. Just inking with the red. Because these pieces are already red, it's just to get rid of the white from where it's been cut. I know, I don't think we're going to make it happen. I don't think we're going to make it happen. I don't know why, but we did find a home for one of them. Look, it wasn't, we did okay. We did okay. We found a home for one. That's true. We almost saved them both. We almost saved them both. There's still the inside. That's true. We did our best. We did our best. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into place, and then I'm going to tuck this behind it. That's right. We gave it the old college try. Maybe if we'd had a little more cough syrup, things would have looked a little different. But as it was. So I'm just going to tuck this back there, just so I know. Make sure nothing's hanging over where I don't want it, and then PM me with how you moved your craft supplies twice in 4 months and you didn't jump off a bridge. Funny story. I luckily only had to move the bulk of my craft supplies one time, because what we did a 2-stage move when we moved to Texas. And so we had, we moved like just enough stuff that I could keep doing this show and, you know, like a TV, a couch, a bed, you know, like just like the most basic stuff. And then the rest of our stuff we put in storage, and the bulk of my craft stuff went to storage. And the idea was that we would then have it delivered once we had got our house. But we never got to that point. So we were able to have that delivered from storage to Florida. So I moved a lot of the craft stuff myself, but I didn't have to move it. But I will tell you, moving twice in 4 months, even that amount of stuff does make you want to jump off a bridge. It does. Especially when, you know, when we moved from Texas to Florida, we had everything we brought to Texas plus all of my sister's stuff. So, oh, we got to do the inside. So, you know, it was a lot. It was a lot. I don't recommend it. I recommend moving no more than once a year. That's the absolute max. Oh, and traveling with cats. Yep. I think we'll do this, but put a red scallop on it. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but that's so much cuter. I really hate it. I'm not going to lie. Look how much cuter this would be with a little red scallop. Why are you so bad? What I did is with this is for the question is, do you copy and paste a digital stamp on a page, or how does it work? Yeah, you would copy and paste it. What I did with these is I told it I wanted a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 document, and then I just centered it just on the document, and then I just printed it directly onto the cards on my printer when they were 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 already cut out. The gold strip needs to go in the file 13. Savage. But it probably does. It probably does. Well, I decluttered a lot of my craft stuff. So, I got rid of a ton of stuff. I donated an entire van full of stuff to a school before I left. And then once we got settled in here, I ended up donating a bunch more stuff as well. Because being without my stuff kind of taught me what, yeah, I think that's what the problem is with it, Barbara Jean, that it's so bright and the other colors are not so bright. So, so it just seems, you know, outrageous compared to them. It just doesn't have the same vibe as the rest of them is the issue. The gold, I mean. So yeah, definitely, although now you probably can't even donate craft supplies to a school. Even if there's someone at the school to take them, they probably aren't taking donations like that. I think the issue with it is that it's so yellow and nothing else in the collection is yellow. You know, it's not like there's a bunch of yellow in the collection. So that's really my issue with it. Okay, so for this one, I want to start and stop on green, which is good because it already starts and stops on green. I know, poor Catch-a-Tag. Poor Catch-a-Tag. I'm sorry about your mother-in-law, Joyce. I wonder if you could make book bundles if you can't just donate them to the library or something like that. Oh, prisons are a good idea. But I've seen like bundles of books on eBay where it's like they fill a flat rate box with all romances or all mysteries or whatever, and you just get like a mystery box and that you don't sell it for much money, you know. Soon we'll be back to Catch-a-Tag soon. Yeah, you could probably post on I haven't bought any physical books in 2020, but I did buy some digital books. So I'm on a quest to read them all by the end of the year. And then I made a list of all the books that I have a physical copy of in the house that I haven't read, so I don't forget about them when I'm like looking at, on the library app for the next book. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I mean, I think just like surprise boxes on on eBay might just be, because you know what a flat rate or medium flat rate costs, so you can have the postage in the listing. I'm gonna put this little But yeah, I do better with less craft or fewer craft supplies. I just find that that's easier for me to create when I don't have as much stuff. So, but I have a friend who's the opposite. So, different strokes. All right. Done. Oh, my shoulder is killing me, but we have 2 more, and I'm not going to quit until they're all done. Okay. I had 8 to do. I have 2 left. There. We used the gold. It finally got used. It finally got used. Actually, this one, this one we have to be careful that what we put on it just fits right here because the holiday tradition, I specifically cut it out for that. So I think we'll just do that. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maybe we'll do this guy instead. What do you think? Do you like the... Do you like the Nutcracker better or the stocking? I like the Nutcracker better. Yeah, I like the Nutcracker better, which frickin' figures because it's going to be way more hard to cut out. My mom collects Nutcrackers. She has Nutcrackers from all over the world. Now, one thing I'm doing is I'm cutting his arms away from his body and in between his legs so that I can cut out the white space that's sort of trapped between his arm and his hip. I can get rid of that white space by just cutting his arm away, and then I'll just, when I stick it down, you know, you won't even notice because his arm will look like it's still attached. Yeah, they have traveled a lot. They were supposed to go to the German Christmas market this year. They had a whole trip planned around that. I think a riverboat tour or something that they had to cancel. Um, which is too bad, but you know. Your mom put a bird in her latest album and kept the legs intact. What? All right. Oh, he fits perfectly right there. Look at him. What a cute little nutcracker. All right. These scissors are kind of gunked up, so I've got to clean them up now. But yeah, all you have to do to clean your scissors, just put a little bit of Undo on them and then give them a little wipe. And they'll cut like new. Okay. All right, so we got our little nutcracker guy. We put the gold piece on the front. All right, now. Dun, 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 da-da, dun, dun, dun. look on the inside because I want to use this if I can. Yeah, we can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark. On one edge. And then I'm going to cut it out. My trumpeting made the dog tilt her head at you, and yeah, she was like, what is going on over there? Speaking of dogs, we had like a wolf pack party in our front yard last night. Our Nest Cam caught it. I mean, they're probably coyotes, but I don't know if we have wolves in Florida. Has Mittens, we haven't seen Mittens in a while, and after we saw the wolf pack party last night, we were like, ooh. So ta-da. Okay. Ugh, a possum? Possums are demons. I was once stalked by a possum. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. Because I wanted it there. That's literally the only reason. Nope, can't do that because we've got Yuletide greetings. Okay. So that's what we're going to do on the inside. Santa needs some tape. All right, so I'm gonna cut out Santa. Now he has to be flanked on either side to cover the straight lines from because he fills the page, so that's why he's got to go under the card and under the the candy cane so that you don't see these harsh edges. All right, so I need to mark whereabouts on Santa we're gonna put. Well, we used to have just mittens, but now we have like a coyote party or something. But yeah, one of the coyotes, wolfotes, whatever, chased another one onto our, well, no, not true. One of them was chasing the other one down the street back and forth. And the one that was being chased and wasn't happy about it, tail tucked between the legs, head down, like front paws braced. You could tell it was not a friendly romp. That one took over our front porch as his like safe space. And then at some point, the other coyote, which had been running back and forth in the street, I think looking for him, found him on our front porch. But when he came, you know, towards him, the one on the porch was definitely like, get away from me, because he had a very aggressive posture, and the other one, I think, decided it wasn't worth it. So, but yeah, one of them hung out on our porch for a few minutes, like claimed that as his territory and defended it. And then once the other one left the area, he went off. And I was like, this is fun. This is just what I need. So after mittens, this is the escalation that the neighborhood animals needed. This is all good. Great. Thank you. And this just happened last night. So that was cool. I know I shouldn't have complained about mittens, because now I have wolfotes. Maybe he's what broke the screen. Interesting. Well, they did say, I thought it was Kitty fighting mittens, but we had the screen replaced with the type of screen that you would use to keep a dog in. So, because we had the entire bottom of the pool enclosure, the screen replaced professionally, and we specifically had it done as if we were keeping a dog inside. So hopefully that will also keep wolfotes out. I don't know if they do. I've never seen one before. So, you know, I've never seen one before. And, you know, we sent Liz the video from the camera, and she was totally shocked. Like, she's never seen any of them before. So I don't know if it's new, like if they're have been displaced from what their territory was previously or what. Because like I said, the last night was the first time any of us saw them, and like none of us saw them. You know, the camera recorded it. I was up and I didn't hear them, but I was listening to I was watching a movie and I had headphones on. So if they had been making noise, I don't think I even would have heard them. Mr. Lifeguard may have to start peeing on the porch. I looked at Kitty this afternoon and I said, this is why you're an inside cat and not an outside cat, even though you want to be an outside cat. And Liz said, oh man, if a coyote ate Kitty, he'd be like, wow, this is Japanese Wagyu A5 cat. I've never seen marbling like this. Then they'd be back the next night and all we'd have is Tiny Cat. And they'd be so disappointed. Poor Kitty. Always getting shamed for her weight. Although Kitty's doing well on her diet, she's lost some more weight. So that's been good. We switched her to Fancy Feast appetizers, which is like half the calories of regular Fancy Feast, because it's supposed to be an appetizer, which if you're feeding your cat multiple courses, that's expensive. That's expensive. But she gets that instead of normal Fancy Feast. But there's a problem with it, which is that it tastes better than regular Fancy Feast. So now Tiny Cat wants it, so they fight over it. And then no one wants to eat regular Fancy Feast, and they only eat it if they're starving, which is fine because that's why Kitty's losing weight. But it's just like... So I'll let you know what happens with the Wolf Odies, but hopefully it was just like a one-time deal. And they're not going to be a neighborhood fixture, because I can't imagine how Kitty's going to react. Oh no, hubby snacked all your dog's fat. No. Oh, it's so hard to get them to lose weight. Look how cute Santa is. Okay, so now we just need to do the outside. No. All right, so I'm thinking I'm going to cut these out the same way I did those other ones. This bone folder is called a T-rib. It's a bookbinding shape. So T as in Tyrannosaurus, and then dash rib as in rib bone from your rib cage. So it's called a T-rib. And that describes the shape. And this is a Teflon one. And you can get it from bonefolder.com. What I like about the T-rib is it's easy to pinch between your thumb and forefinger, and then it's like a pushing motion when you use it. You're pushing forward, and I find that's a lot easier on my shoulder than the kind of like the kind of pushing down motion of a normal bone folder. So like with a normal bone folder, you're kind of like, you're pushing kind of down. With this one, you're just moving it forward, and I find that I have a lot fewer problems with my shoulder. And this one just seems, it's just easier to grab and easier to use, more energy efficient, I would say, you know. So yeah, a T-rib is what it's called. And you can get it from that Teflon Bone Folder Company. Is that bonefolder.com? I think. But yeah, it's a great bone folder. I use it more than any other bone folder I have. Okay. And then with these, I'm just gonna all right. So I think what we're going to be able to do is, may your days be merry and bright. Nice. That looks very cute. Okay. I'm going to ink in the red. Just so, again, we won't have any white edges from where it was cut. May your days be merry. So after this, because I've already done the inside, all we're going to have left to do is the box. So we'll do the box next week. And then we'll go back to school. and we'll go back to school. And finish Catch-a-Tag. And then we'll have time for one more project this year, I think, and that'll be the box set album remastered. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3-page divisions, like there'll be 3-page styles, and it'll have 3 layouts of a bunch of smaller pieces and parts. So, because that album's big, it's like 7 by 15 or something. It's a bit, that's the long skinny album. It's like 7.5 by 15. The pages are twice as long as they are wide. And the whole point of it is to use the infinity binding, so you can make things that are bigger than 12 inches. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide up the pages in like a grid, almost like an advent calendar, where there's going to be something that's, 5 by 7.5 goes here. Something that's 3.5 by, these are, I'm just making these up off the top of my head, but you know what I mean. Like this is piece A and it's this dimension. This is piece B and it's this dimension. And then what I want to do is I want to make options for it. So I want to be like, here's an envelope, a pocket, a folder that'll fit in that space. And then so what you'd be mixing and matching is what you are putting in each spot. So I have a feeling the album basics guide is going to be a little complicated for that one, but it's okay. We'll get through it. We'll get through it together. We'll hold hands. It'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the and first, and I'm just going to center it right over the ornament. But that's how that album's going to be. That laugh was the best. But that was my super happy laugh. Could you tell that was my looking forward to it laugh? May your days be merry and bright. We got all of the Pouch-a-lopes done, friends. We got all of the Pouch-a-lopes done. So the only thing left to do in this album is to make the box for all the Pouch-a-lopes to go in. So we'll do that next week. And yeah, that'll be it for Christmas in July. So fantastic. I'm excited. So thanks so much for watching. Next week, I'll be back at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time on Thursday, August 20th. And check the video description for links to website, supplies used, everything. But I'll be back. We'll make a box to hold all of these. And then that'll be it. And remember, if you don't celebrate Christmas, you don't have to make a Christmas. It could be anything because it's just envelopes. So you can make it. It's just envelopes in a box. You can do any style you like. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.